Hey guys, Dylan from the Geek Duo here, and today I'll be bringing you my reaction to Doctor Who Season 2, Episode 7, titled Wish World. The Doctor and Belinda's return home becomes a terrible trap as old enemies unite. Now, so we do know who some of the old enemies are. We were told that there's going to be a trio of old enemies. One of them, one of them is both of the Ranis. They both count for one. The second one is a villain that we met this season. I'm not going to say who it is. There are several that it's been left open for. You probably know, because you've probably already seen the episode if you're watching this reaction, or if you've stayed in the loop or anything. And the third one we don't know. So there are a number of things it could be, and given how the Rani somehow has some fourth wall breaking ability, which has so far been unexplained. I'm hoping it does get unexplained. Not, it does get unexplained. It does get explained. She does wear red fingernails paint. So we did see the Master's tooth getting pulled up, or it could be the Meep, because they did mention that their Master and was very interested in two-hearted beings, so that could be, hey, the Rani was the Meep's master. It could be the Know Things, but I don't think they. Then again, bring the Know Things in when we've just had a major reminder of Mavity and everything, and they sort of opened the way for the Pantheon in that to like come in full force. So could be that they're a part of it. I know I'm relating it to David Tennant episodes again, with all three of those options, but technically one of them was an Ncuti episode. But anyway, I'm gonna add the speculation here. I have no idea who it could be. I have ideas of who it might be, but I don't think any of them would be correct. So let's just get this started in three, two, one, go. Did it work? There we go. Was half expecting it to pause again. Also, the title of this being Wish World is very interesting, because that sort of implies it's fake. Bavaria 1865. Not gonna lie, I'm getting real finale of Once Upon a Time with that intro. I thought it was gonna pan up to show like a glittering patchwork of castles and that. Just in time in the 1800s? Hmm. I've heard that before. Hmm. To use the ability, she needs to kiss the baby on the forehead. Hmm. In 2025, Dr. and Melinda. Hey, Poppy's back. Yeah, that was the child that they saw in the Storymaker. Hello, Conrad. Hmm. Yeah, I'm getting a lot of different results for the seventh son of seventh son, but none of where I would have seen it from, so I don't know. I meant to look up what that German translated to. Apparently translates to storm and stress. Of course it is. So Poppy, who's shown up twice now in this season. What's your name? Ruby. Hmm. Expressing doubt, eh? Mal? They all have broken mugs. Sure. Interesting that unit is hmm. Wasn't expecting Susan to be back. Hmm. The one they called out for benefit schemes is the one that's no longer a part of unit. Oh, wow, that's where this is going. Hmm. This world seems horrid. It's still called a unit. I don't know. I hmm. This world's not as perfect as it seems. How would she remember? Hmm. That shows Mel's not as trapped as well, given how full her bin was. Interesting that we still have yet to see the Mrs. Flood, Rani. Hmm? Hmm. What is up with this giant bone ship? Ah, there she is. I did notice that those were the droids from the International Space Contest. Interesting that okay with working with her, yet he's not okay with the Doctor. The fuck you mean you forget about the weather and you're directly connected to this, eh? Is he being manipulated by this world as well? Are you kidding me? Is that a baby toy maker? The seventh son of a seventh son of a seventh son. Neil Patrick Harris did have a vague German accent at some parts of his performance. Hmm. So you want them snapped out of it? I mean, the toy maker did have some reality bending ability, so it makes sense that he'd be able to do all this. Yes, why indeed. We never did find out about her dad. Because, they still never did explain the snow. They go unperceived. Then they could get by without. Susan again. Rogue? The one who was lost. There's so many that could qualify as the one who was lost. Could be their third childhood friend, which is the master. Could be a toy maker. Could be Rogue. Could be Susan. Don't do that. One of those didn't break. Was there Rogue that didn't really look like Jonathan Groff? You were having doubts too, though. Of course, there's no like assistant architecture or anything. Hmm. That is a what, DNA scan or something? Hmm. Is this like a fob thing? Because didn't he only register as having one heart when he had the watch back during the Family of Blood? What was that then? You never had kids? What is it with the Doctor's enemies and music? You had the toy maker, you had the master, you have the Rani. that little knock 4 time? That little with his nose. I also told you you'd die in a cell. Ethereum, eh? Breaking through. And what happens when it hits midnight? I do love the energy she's brought to this. I don't know what the original Rani acted like because, well, very similar to what. Oh God, what in the Inception? Who is the one who is lost? Because the one who slept was that Sutek? the oldest of them all? Or is it still following that same Omega? Hmm. I'm guessing that threshold is like the boundaries of the safe place. She disappeared. That would be terrifying. To just see the roof slowly coming down on you. Hmm. That was a fucking weird episode. I really don't know. I really don't know what to make of that. Um. Hmm. Hmm. So I'm guessing this Omega is the third member of the Trinity. Hmm. So here's the thing. Is technically the Doctor not the first Time Lord? Considering with the Timeless Child, the entire Time Lord regeneration thing came from Doctor. Omega's first appearance was in The Three Doctors, which was that the 1, 2, and 3, or was it 2, 3, 4? Um, it was 1, 2, 3. Yeah, was the main enemy there. Only person to live within the antimatter universe and ruled over it. Um, Never even heard of this. Omega, whose original name was Palix. Omega and Rassilon were born in the era of Gallifrey's history when the Gallifreyan civilization was turned outwards, perfecting more advanced forms of interstellar travel. Because we know Rassilon. Rassilon was the president, and he's the one that well, he was the one that was trying to come through when the Master opened that rift to try and bring Time Lords back. He also apparently returned during Capaldi's era, back when Capaldi like kicked him out of office from what I know through osmosis. So this one goes back as far as Rassilon. Okay. Don't know what makes them special. I'm sure in the Who culture breakdown of this episode, I'm going to learn who they are, like who I knew. Um, I now know at least somewhat of who the Rani is. Though I don't know how this Rani is very different from how she was described during um the old Who version, the classic Who version, where she was a scientific force trying to conduct experiments and everything. So this, I mean, sort of feels the same. Like, this is just one big experiment, one big science to try and get Omega out of this underverse. Speaking of, I should probably look if the underverse is, because isn't that somewhat where he met the toy maker the first time? Like, he went below reality. That's where he met the toy maker, and then in the 50th anniversary, he somehow, at the end of the Edge of the Universe, was able to open the way for the toy maker to come out. The 14th Doctor described the Toymaker's domain as a hollow beneath the Under-Universe, blaming him for having let the TARDIS fall into this other realm in an earlier life. So, the Under-Universe, and then there's where the Toymaker was. Okay. Interesting. Interesting. So I was sort of right in that. The fact that they're amplifying the powers of a wish-granting god to amplify the doubts that people have, to try and split open reality, to let someone who was banished from the beginning of Time Lord society out. See, now that's an issue. That's a scary thought, because if the Time Lord's banished, then there's a good reason for that. So, yes, very interested to see who this Omega actually is. Because, like I said, it's old Who, so I don't really know much about it. Yes. So this trio of returning villains, I'm guessing the third one has to be what's it, Omega, because Desiderum is only new. Like, they came this episode, so there's no way they could qualify. I I don't know why them giggling like that made me think that, oh yeah, this is obviously a baby toy maker, because, well, gods don't really have baby forms, so having a baby god doesn't really make sense. But for all I know, it could have been. But yeah, I surprised that they're adding in someone with such cosmic power this early into things. Like, by that I mean, um, like, immediately into the episode, they're like, oh yeah, here's this like excuse me, this super powerful immortal thing that will just completely ruin reality if we let them be. If because they can't really control their power being a baby. And yes, so it's very interesting to see what is going to come of this. Like, how is this all going to be resolved? I can sort of see this acting like when John Sims tried to recall the Time Lord Society, because that didn't really work out for him well, where the whole last White Point Star and the Doctor with the gun, like switching between Rassilon and him, and then ending up shooting the um Chris the Star, and then him taking a blast for the Doctor. I don't I don't know how after all that he regenerates into Missy. I really don't know. I also don't know how he comes back during Capaldi's era. But yeah, so I don't know, because the Master, the Rani, and the Doctor were three childhood friends. We know that the Master is the way he is because of the staring into the time vortex as a child. It left the drumming in his head, which drove him mad. We know that. And I don't know why the Rani ended up the way she is, to have been kicked out of Time Lord Society. But I know she was. And then they teamed up. A real fraught relationship, from what I know. And they're trying to get revenge on the Doctor, but I don't know. But I'm very interested. Why did Ruby qualify as one of the unseen? Unless it is purely because of how Conrad overlooked her, used her, and everything. It's interesting that Kate still has her position as head of unit when it's very much a misogynistic world where women shouldn't have jobs. Their only job is to have children and look after the house. From what we've seen in this, with the interaction between um the Doctor and Colonel Ibrahim, the whole you'd be saving her by getting her out of this position, and yeah, there's also it's a very straight world because the Doctor calling Ibrahim a beautiful man was apparently the worst thing he could say. So, interesting. I don't know what to expect from the next episode because this episode was wild, and the fact that it's called The Reality War is very weird. Hmm. But yes. I do find it weird that they have this big thing happening on the 24th, yet they released the second last episode on the 24th. That could have been purely because it ticks over into the 24th in this episode, and like it sets up all the events of the next episode. So by having this release on the 24th, it sets up the events for next week's episode. But this is one time I think it could have been good for a double feature finale. I also say that because I want to know what happens next right now, but anyway, yeah, this was a very weird episode. So a lot of things are going to be explained in the next one. Like, why is Poppy back? I've had this question since it was revealed to me after the story in the engine that that little girl was Captain Poppy. Like, why is she back? I forgot to mention that in the Interstellar Song Contest, but yeah, I did know about it. So why is she back? Like, she was from what was regarded as the worst episode of season one. So, also, was that Rogue? says this whole dimension you trapped me I'm trapped in is going to be slid into the pit. Doctor Who Wish World. Let's bring up let's go to the cast. See, scroll down, scroll down. Not seeing anything, so I'll actually go to the cast screen in the credits. Because there was a lot of people there. Just jump over there, let's see. The Doctor, Belinda, Ruby, Rani, Otto, Zufol, Violette, Zufol, Poppy, Conrad, Mel, Shirley, Kate, Susan, Colonel Ibrahim, Belinda's mum. Let's get rid of subtitles. You're blocking some of the credits. It is Rogue, Jonathan Groff. It didn't look like him, but I guess that's what a year in a hell dimension would do to you. But yeah, I was surprised they brought him back. Like, it does seem like with the reality wall, going to the under-universe and that, slipping between dimensions could be a thing. He did say this hell dimension's going to slip into the pit, so what does that mean? Like, there could be some things happening in the next episode. Hey, we could always pull something random out and bring Rose. I can't believe I forgot her name. Because she's in a different universe, so could always do a what was it called? Was it Journey's End? No, not that was the that was the one where he left her with the Metacrisis Doctor. Yeah, they could always do that and bring her back. Also, apparently, Mel was the companion when during the Rani story. Because it was Mark of the Rani, right? Mark of the Rani characters. Has not told me the characters. Cast as no, it was Perry. Why did I get told that Mel interacted with the Rani? Doctor Who Mel Rani. Oh, time in the Rani, she disguised herself as Mel. That's what I'd heard. Okay. Never mind. That was on me. Anyway, I'm gonna end this one here. I've been scattered because this was a very weird episode. So, with that being said, I'll catch you in the next one.